All my life, I have been an athlete. From the time I was in middle school through high school, people knew me by the fact that I played basketball and football very well, very well. I was known not just in my neighborhood or my high school, I was known a lot of places when I grew up playing sports. And when I moved to Florida, that reputation continued. And in our society, athletes literally have anything they want presented to them. And I've always been told by women that I was attractive, that I spoke well, that I was handsome, that I looked nice. And I've always embraced that. You know, growing up in this country, you know, that was, you know, that's a premium, you know, to be liked more so than the average guy by the opposite sex. And in the beginning, although I understood basically that Islam allows for certain opportunities for a man to make sure that he is in the godly path while at the same time doing things right with his interaction with women, that was a huge, huge obstacle to overcome. Even after I got married, I still hear the whispers of the shaitan. I still go places now where it's at a job or at a grocery store, and I still get looked at, and you know, the temptation's always there. So from a male perspective, for a new shahada, I would say find you a woman who you truly, truly can be happy with. Find you a sister who gives you as much of what you need as a man as you possibly can. If your difficulty is the one that I had, which is overcoming dealing with the opposite sex all the time, and not giving in to those temptations. For me, it's been a big fight. It's been a lifelong fight. I do my best to think of my wife as often as I can, think of the good qualities, the things that I love about her, the little things that she does, as well as the big things that temporarily takes me away from that trial or that test or that temptation. And there are a lot of brothers who I know right now who are Muslim, who are single, and that's a huge struggle that they have, because as a man, you know, God put within you certain needs, and no matter how old or how young you are, there's always the pulling to have those needs and those desires met. It's innate within you as a man. And the same goes for a Muslim sister. You know, when you have been alone and now you come into Islam and, you know, you want a husband, and you go to the masjid and you see all these nice looking men and they're smelling good and they've got the nice beards and, you know, they're dressed nice, or, you know, you see them maybe leaving a nice car and you want to know, man, is that brother single? And, you know, so there's always that temptation when you deal with the opposite sex. And I've learned through some personal trials and tribulations, as well as through some of the trials of brothers around me, I've learned that people actually hold Muslims to a higher standard than they hold themselves to sometimes. And I'll give you I'll take a quick story and condense it to about 30 seconds. I once knew a young man back in Orlando. He was a Muslim, and he had an issue where he was befriending a woman who was not Muslim. He wasn't married, she wasn't married, and they had a relationship. The mother of the young lady actually interrupted them one day being together. And the mother was screaming and yelling, and she cursed her daughter from the top of her head to the bottom of her feet. I mean, she just went off on her daughter. And she looked at the brother, and her statement was, "And you supposed to be Muslim." And he said it hit him right then. that even this lady knew that as a Muslim, he was held to a higher standard even than her own daughter. He said, because not one word about faith came out of her mouth talking to her daughter. She looked at that Muslim brother and said, and you supposed to be Muslim, as if that behavior was totally unacceptable for the life that he claimed to believe. And so I remember that story, and I remember him relaying that to me, and it hit me hard. I was like, whoa. And then throughout my life, as I've met people, and as I've been tempted, you know, by women all the time, you know, when you tell them you're Muslim, all of a sudden, I mean, you can see their whole mannerisms change. And it's a responsibility. And at times it can be a difficult thing to overcome.
الله ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور